Well, hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Ashwin Kumar and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Sensex and Nifty hit a record high thanks largely to a sharp rally in HDFC Bank. Mid-cap index hits the 50,000 mark in intraday trade, ending in the green for the 9th straight day. All respondents to a CNBC-TV18 poll expect the RBI Monetary Policy Committee to keep policy rates unchanged. 60% say that they would keep an eye out for the RBI's growth and inflation forecasts. Vodafone Idea board will meet over the weekend to consider raising of over 2,000 crore rupees by issuing preference shares to promoters. This is in line with what promoters had committed in August of last year and will kick off the long-awaited fundraise process. UPL plans an initial public offer for its seeds business. Sources say UPL is likely to dilute its stake by over 10% and is targeting a valuation of $4 billion. The government-incorporated Bad Bank submits a binding offer to acquire Prash Associates' debts from lenders for 10,000 crores. Sources tell us that lenders are currently evaluating the offer and will invite counterbids. However, banks may require the RBI's nod to proceed with the sale. Amazon-backed Good Glam Group forms a joint venture with tennis superstar turned entrepreneur Serena Williams to launch a beauty brand in the United States. Good Glam Group founder Darpan Sangvi says that roping in Serena Williams will help achieve their dream of creating a global beauty brand from India. That's an exclusive. India is among the fastest growing markets for Marriott hotels and could also soon become the third largest, says senior executive Rajiv Menon. Expects Marriott to operate 250 hotels in India by 2030. That's another exclusive. The death toll in Gaza due to Israeli airstrikes crosses 33,000, according to the Hamas-run Health Ministry. The founder of World Central Kitchen says that Israeli forces systematically targeted 3 vehicles carrying 7-8 workers from the US, UK and Australia. The charity demands an independent investigation into the killings by the nations involved. Rescue workers search for survivors amidst aftershocks and landslides after the strongest earthquake in decades jolts Taiwan. More than 600 people feared trapped and dozens remain missing, including 2 Indian nationals. After winning 18 seats in West Bengal in the last Lok Sabha elections, can the BJP make further inroads? Will Mamata Banerjee's Trinamool Congress hold its ground? A special report coming up. And with just 6 months to go for the US presidential elections, a Wall Street Journal poll shows former President Donald Trump is leading Joe Biden across 6 of 7 swing states. Well, let's begin with a look at the day's market action. The Sensex and Nifty hit a record high, largely due to a sharp rally in HDFC Bank. Mid-cap index also crossed the 50,000 mark for the first time, ending in the green for the 9th straight day. However, the Nifty Bank Index is just 1% away from hitting a record high. Prashant Nair is joining us now with a quick wrap of all the day's market action. Prashant.
A pretty good session all across the board today as far as the Nifty, Bank Nifty, mid-caps, small-caps, everything goes. Towards the last 1 hour, the Nifty, after recovering almost 300 points from that 11 a.m. low, gave up about 30-odd points, or so 30-40 points or so. But it was still a very good session. Nifty Bank also came off the day's highest level, but ended about 0.9% higher. Private banks like HDFC, I'll get to that in just a bit, were the leading reasons why. Mid-caps and small-caps, mid-cap index absolutely unchanged. The small-cap index a little better in terms of trade today. Now, the large caps, right? HDFC Bank, of course, top of the list there. Deposit growth was strong. There's also expectation of a technical factor which may bring in more passive flows on the MSCI front, but that's an expectation. Eicher Motors, Tech Mahindra was some of the other gainers. Titan did well. There was Asian Paints and TCS. IT actually, along with private banks, was the other clear leader today. On the downside, ONGC, Shriram Finance, Adani Ports and BPCL were some of the large losers. But when I say large, relatively speaking. Now, broader markets, advances outnumber declines. And here, the large gains coming through in names like KEC. KEC, of course, there was an order, strong move. We had the management with us as well. Zomato, 5% move. There was Indiabulls Real Estate, which went up 6%. PNB Housing was strong. CSB Bank, Spandana Spurti, the amine stocks, Alkyl and Balaji, both were higher. LG Equipment, Aster DM and Inox India were some of the other gainers. On the pullback side, downside, Dabur sold off, Angel was down, and there was something like a HPCL was down as well. Tomorrow, of course, is the RBI policy. So locally, that's the big talking point. But globally, I think we need to watch sort of oil prices, which have been dangerously close to the $90 a barrel level. I think that's the global cue which will matter more than anything else, apart from, of course, what the RBI tells us tomorrow.
Right, Prashant, thanks a lot for that. Now, the government has hiked the windfall gains tax on domestic crude for the 5th time since February. The amount of tax has been raised to 6,800 rupees per tonne from 4,900 rupees per tonne. However, windfall tax on diesel, petrol and aviation turbine fuel continues to remain nil. And the US Treasury Department officials have said that price cap on Russian oil is aimed at curbing their revenue, which the Kremlin may use to finance their war in Ukraine. Speaking at an event in New Delhi, the officials said that they were planning to ensure a tighter enforcement of the $60 price cap on Russian oil. That's not all. They said that no Indian entity has been sanctioned for evading oil sanctions and clarified that Russian oil once refined in India or any other country, for that matter, was no longer Russian.
The point in that value chain where Russia gets money, which is the first sale of the crude oil to the first buyer, that's exactly the point at which we're focused on our current sanctions in terms of limiting the profit that Putin gets. So that oil is something that's either, subject to the price cap or affected by the price cap's economic incentives, which are forcing Putin to sell even less.
Once Russian oil is refined, it's therefore, from sort of a technical perspective, it's no longer Russian oil. If it is refined in a country and then sent forward from a sanctions perspective, that is an import from the country of purchase. It is not an import from Russia.
Well, India's services activity in March witnessed one of the strongest growth rates in more than 13 years. According to the HSBC Purchasing Managers Index, Services PMI has come in at 61.2 in March versus 60.6 in the month of February. Now, this was largely driven by healthy demand conditions and positive sales developments. The report also highlighted that March saw one of the strongest expansions in sales and business activity, which was primarily aided by a rise in new export orders. Well, moving ahead, all respondents to a CNBC-TV18 poll are expecting the RBI Monetary Policy Committee to keep the policy rates unchanged. 60% have said that they would keep an eye out for the RBI's growth and inflation forecasts. Ritu Singh is joining us now with the details. Ritu, tell us, what are the pollsters expecting from the monetary policy?
Don't expect any changes in rates or stance just yet, but watch out for the macro forecasts with a potential GDP growth upgrade on the cards, according to a CNBC-TV18 poll. There's also an expectation that RBI is going to signal that it will keep liquidity comfortable. Now, if all of this comes true, it is going to be bullish for stocks. 60% of our respondents said that they are going to focus on RBI's growth and inflation projection, with others highlighting that they're going to watch out for any signal that the stance could be shifted towards neutral, or if the tone turns a bit more hawkish given the exuberance in the system which RBI has been highlighting. No one is expecting rates to be tinkered with in this policy. In fact, most of our respondents are also expecting the stance of the policy to be left unchanged at withdrawal of accommodation, with just about 10% expecting that RBI will prepare the markets for a shift in stance going ahead. The first rate cut is only expected in the October policy later this year by most of the respondents, with some expecting it by August, but no earlier than that. On the liquidity front, the respondents largely expect RBI to signal comfortable liquidity. Now, since the last policy, liquidity conditions have eased and RBI has been actively managing liquidity with multiple interventions at both ends, and participants expect that RBI will continue with this and also reiterate its preference to stay nimble with market operations. The inflation forecast for the current fiscal is also unlikely to be changed just yet. Now, while vegetable prices continue to remain volatile, the RBI could find some comfort in the softening core inflation. But on the growth front, half of the respondents are expecting an upward revision, with the domestic growth data remaining robust. The RBI is expected to raise the GDP growth forecast for FY25 anywhere between 7.1 to 7.5%. As per 50% of our respondents, the other half are expecting it to be left unchanged. As to how the governor will sound, absolutely even is the broad consensus. So rates on hold, stance unchanged, some tinkering in the macro projections are the expectations that we are going into this policy with. Of course, the governor's comments in the press conference later about recent regulatory measures, for instance, against financial entities, the larger message from those are also things that we are going to keenly watch out for.
Right, Ritu, thanks a lot for that. But stay with us. We'll come back to you in just a bit on the Prash Associates debt story. But before that, General Electric Aerospace will invest over 240 crore rupees to expand and upgrade its manufacturing facility in Pune. The investment will help the company add new projects by acquiring specialized equipment. Just for context, GE Aerospace's Pune facility produces components for commercial jet engines. The investment comes a day after GE Aerospace listed on the New York Stock Exchange. And Bajaj Finance has invested 2,000 crore rupees in Bajaj Housing Finance through the rights issue. Bajaj Housing Finance is a wholly owned subsidiary of Bajaj Finance. Additionally, Bajaj Housing Finance is also looking to raise up to 1,500 crore rupees by reissuing its bonds that are maturing in 2026. Now, agri major UPL is planning an initial public offer for its seeds business. Sources tell us that UPL is likely to dilute its stake by over 10% and is targeting a valuation of $4 billion. Vivek Iyer is joining us now with the exclusive details. Vivek.
Well, that's right. Like you mentioned, what we are picking up from our sources that, there could be some value unlock exercises underway as far as UPL is concerned. We understand from our sources that the company is planning to launch the IPO of its seeds business. Now, remember, with the earlier restructuring that the company had done, both the global as well as the domestic seed business is now under the entity known as Advanta Enterprises. We understand that this IPO could be launched as soon as early FY25 itself. We also understand that the bankers have already been appointed for this particular issue. So BofA Securities, Morgan Stanley and JM Financial are the bankers for the issue. We understand that UPL is looking to divest close to 10 to 12% stake in this particular platform and in this particular company via the primary market offering. We also understand that the valuation that the company is targeting is close to $4 billion just for this particular business. In terms of a benchmark for the valuation, remember, KKR had invested 13.3%, at valuation of close to 2.25 in this particular company back in September 2023. So that is a valuation benchmark. We understand that the company now is looking for a valuation of close to $4 billion. We understand that the entire proceeds that will be taken by UPL will be used to go ahead and deleverage its balance sheet, which currently the company is struggling with, given the fact that it's most likely going to go ahead and miss its guidance that it had given for debt reduction by the end of FY24. So remember, the company had a debt of close to $3.7 billion at the end of December 2023. The company had a rights issue which was planned, which has been a little bit delayed, and the company had targeted to reduce its net debt to close to $2.5 billion by March 2024. So on account of that, this particular exercise becomes quite important for the company in order to deleverage its balance sheet.
Right, Vivek, thanks a lot for that. Crucial numbers ahead of the IPO. Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. The National Asset Reconstruction Company has submitted a binding offer to acquire Prash Associates debt from lenders worth 10,000 crore rupees. Sources have told us that the lenders are currently evaluating the offer and will invite counterbids. Ritu Singh joining us now again. Ritu, coming to you again. Give us a sense. What are your sources telling you?
Well, Ashmit, it's been more than 6 years in the making for the resolution of Prash Associates' debt, and now it seems there's some forward movement on that matter, because we've been given to understand that the lenders to Prash Associates have received a binding offer from the National Asset Reconstruction Company earlier this week for about 10,000 crore rupees to acquire the entire debt of the company. Now, keep in mind, it was earlier in 2017 when the Reserve Bank of India had directed these banks to ensure that the resolution of Prash Associates happens through the NCLT. However, despite years of pleas being filed by multiple lenders, that case has yet yet to be admitted into the bankruptcy court. And now, after the lenders rejecting any sort of resolution or settlement of debt outside the court, this offer has come in from NARCL. Now here, the lenders are currently evaluating the offer. If they do choose to accept it, it will have to go through a Swiss auction process where, keeping this 10,000 crore base bid in mind, counter offers will be invited by the lenders. And if one of them is higher than what NARCL has offered, that will be accepted. If not, it will be NARCL's 10,000 crores. But they will still have to seek the Reserve Bank of India's nod to proceed with this. In terms of recovery for lenders, over the years, of course, they've provided for this account fully. But there's 29,000 crores at stake. So whatever comes in from NARCL will be recovery. On top of that, of course, all of this money will not come in immediately. Part of it will be cash payment, but a larger part will be security receipts that will be redeemable as and when the debt is resolved.
Right, Ritu. Thanks a lot for that important update. With that, we're heading into a very short break, but up next, Amazon-backed Good Glam Group serves an ace, forms a joint venture with tennis superstar Serena Williams to launch her beauty brand in the United States. An exclusive with founder Darpan Sanghvi coming up. Welcome back. Now, the big global headlines: the death toll in Gaza due to Israeli strikes crosses 33,000, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The founder of World Central Kitchen says that Israeli forces systematically targeted 3 vehicles carrying 7 aid workers from US, UK and Australia. The charity has demanded an independent investigation into the killings by the nations involved. Rescue workers search for survivors amidst aftershocks and landslides after the strongest earthquake in decades jolts Taiwan. More than 600 people fear trapped and dozens remain missing, including 2 Indian nationals. West Bengal is one of the few opposition bastions in India. Motivated by her national aspirations, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has never shied away from taking the BJP and the Prime Minister Modi head-on. But for the first time in the 2019 general elections, BJP's tally in the state rose to 18 seats. And this makes the race for the state's 42nd Lok Sabha seats a crucial one. In our continuing election series, Election Exchange, CNBC-TV18 Santya Gora reports that both parties are trying to tail all their campaigns to appeal to multiple vote banks. Take a look.
West Bengal is a state to watch during the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. With 42 seats, the state is often key in deciding the final outcome. But it goes beyond that. With BJP winning an unprecedented 18 seats in the last elections, winning back supremacy has become a prestige issue for West Bengal Chief Minister and TMC Supremo Mamata Banerjee. And for the BJP, it's a chance to further whittle away at the TMC's stronghold.
पिछले 6-8 साल से हम लगातार और इम्प्रूव कर रहे हैं। वोटर परसेंटेज ऑफ वोटिंग इंक्रीज हो रही है, सीट में भी इंक्रीज हो रही है। बीजेपी का नाम कोई नहीं लेता था बंगाल में, लेकिन 2016 चुनाव 2014 लोकसभा चुनाव में हमको 17% वोट मिला था यहाँ। और उसके बाद हम लोग संगठन में जोर लगाया तो फिर 16 विधानसभा चुनाव में 10% से ऊपर गया। उसके पहले 5-6% रहता था। फिर लोकसभा 2019 में हम उसको 40% तो ले गए।
But TMC says it's not worried. It says the only reason BJP managed 18 seats in 2019 was due to some big promises and none have been kept.
Because BJP may have promised much in 2019, has delivered nothing. So Bengal now knows that those were all like jumlas, or those were promises which have never been executed.
TMC is confident the strong following enjoyed by its chief Mamata Banerjee and the multiple welfare schemes implemented by the state government will give it a definite edge.
Basically, the philosophy of All India Trinamool Congress has always been service to the Mati Manush, service to the people of Bengal. And this is something which Mamata Banerjee has worked upon throughout. Of course, is the success of the various schemes of the government. And we think that these are success stories which will also yield us political dividends.
TMC also dismisses many of the allegations made by the BJP in West Bengal, whether that it was behind the post-election violence in 2021 or those of corruption levelled against many TMC leaders or those of land grabbing, exploitation and sexual assault by TMC's Shahjahan Sheikh and his aides in Sandesh Khali. As a counter to the last one, BJP has given one of the alleged victims a ticket. It has also made brand Modi, the spirit of nationalism, Citizenship Amendment Act and Hindutva into cornerstones of its West Bengal campaign. The effectiveness is debatable.
Ideally, BJP should get more seats than 2019, but not at the credit really of BJP or the state BJP.
TMC, meanwhile, is also playing up the centre versus state narrative and banking on its welfare schemes and appeasement policies to win over women and Muslim voters. Experts believe that in 2019, a significant portion of left-leaning voters voted for the BJP, not due to a shift in the ideology, but more as an anti-TMC move. They now predict a repetition of this pattern in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, some even going so far as to suggest it could be significant enough to help BJP get a stronger foothold in parliament. In Kolkata, with camera person Swapnil Bandekar, this is Santya for CNBC-TV18.
Well, here's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. India is among the fastest growing markets for Marriott hotels and could also become the third largest, says senior executive Rajiv Menon. He expects Marriott to open 250 hotels in India by 2030. Menon also said that Marriott will focus on expanding across more Indian cities apart from traditional leisure destinations. Take a look.
COVID, India was one of the fastest markets to recover. By the end of 24, we will have 160 operating hotels in India. We, as I just mentioned, on our pipeline, and I expect in the next 5 years, Marriott would have 250 operating hotels across the country with about 50,000 rooms across India.
Well, Amazon-backed Good Glam Group has inked a joint venture with tennis superstar turned entrepreneur Serena Williams to launch her beauty brand Win in the United States. The brand will offer 91 shades across 10 distinct product ranges in the face, lips and eyes categories. In an exclusive conversation with CNBC-TV18, Good Glam Group founder Darpan Sangvi said that roping in Serena Williams will help achieve their dream of creating a global beauty brand from India.
Dream come true, Shireen. Serena is beyond celebrity. She is an inspiration, a true icon. It came about because of our audacious vision and dream that can there be a global beauty company coming out of India. And we said if we have to be a global beauty company, we have to be able to make a dent in the US market. And we had this dream about 4 years ago. And we ventured into the US looking for a great partner. On the top of our list was, no one better than Serena Williams. Parallelly, and coincidentally, Serena for the last 6 years had been thinking about her beauty line, had been toying with ideas on what to do over there. In true entrepreneurial style, we found a way to get in front of her. It took us a long time to convince her to show her our skills, our expertise, whether it was the tech and data DNA we have, or the new product development innovation, and also the way we think about brands, trying to build them with purpose and serve the communities that our brands serve towards. And there seemed to be a meeting of the minds there, and Serena gave us the opportunity.
What does she put on the table as far as this joint venture is concerned in terms of investment?
So, this is a true joint venture. We both are shareholders. We both, the joint venture owns the brand. We both own the brand here, and we have been the operating partner. The vision for the products are a reflection of Serena. She's been poetry in motion on the court, and that's how she visualized her makeup line as well. A makeup that moves with you, with buildable formulas that are high performance. There's no one in the world more high performance than Serena.
Does the joint venture distribution rights between Good Glam and Serena Williams across different parts of the world? How does this work, and when do you actually bring the products to India?
So the joint venture owns the brand, right, and all the rights and all the IP to the brand. We will be across the country, coast to coast, nationwide, pan-America. Our first year is in the US. After the first year is when we will go beyond the United States. That's when we'll bring it to India and other global markets.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on Business 360. But before we go, look out for the CNBC-TV18 India Exchange at 5:30 p.m. today, where market experts and industry leaders will come together for insightful discussions on the economy and the evolving dynamics of the Indian market. We will start by mapping out the macros with City India economist Samiran Chakrabarti. This will be followed by a jugalbandi between market veterans Manish Shokani and Ramdeo Agarwal. After that, we discuss the return of the animal spirit within India Inc., a conversation with V. Vaidyanathan of IDFC First Bank, Keki Mistry and Manish Kejriwal of Kedara Capital. And finally, we chase the alpha with market experts like Nilesh Shah of Kotak, Prashant Khemka of White Oak Capital and Anish Tawakle of ICICI Pru MF. Tune into CNBC TV 18 starting at 5:30 p.m. this evening.